The guardsman on the left is Evangelos Rainey Evangelos, or Evan. He grew up in Yorkshire, but he's half Greek, so like all young men his age, he was expected to conscript. Having completed an exhausting 9 months in the Presidential Guard in Athens, he's now back in York.
Oh, that's not bad. In Greece, it's a huge honour, and very few people get to do it because of the requirements to join, the height limit, body capability, so on and so forth. And because I knew that I would fit that category, and I knew that I could experience something so unique, something that you would carry with you for the rest of your life and be extremely proud of, and I couldn't possibly turn that opportunity down.
All those who serve in the Presidential Guard are conscripts and come from all walks of life. There's lawyers, lorry drivers and basketball players. To be accepted, you must be at least 6'2", have no medical complaints, no visible tattoos, be Greek, Christian, Orthodox, and to date, you must also be Caucasian and male. Members of the Presidential Guard are known as Evsones.
Everything from the back of your leg, your hamstrings, your calves, as you squeeze and go all the way back as far as you can. Every part of the service is symbolic, from the direction of the steps to the shapes that you make with your feet and your hands, to even just the most important part of the whole service, which is standing perfectly still. That's also symbolic. So we're guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. We're honouring those who died, who gave their lives so that we could be free. The dead don't move, they don't talk, they don't do anything. So when we are on service, we stand perfectly still, at perfect attention the whole time. The only thing we're allowed to move is our eyes, and everything else has to be completely still. As such, we're symbolizing the dead. During the Evsonic step, your foot is pointing forward and it salutes, which is to say it flicks up and then points forward and then hits the ground with strength again. And during that, there's a number of different things. First of all, it's meant to look like the leg of a horse, and that was because all of the Evsones, although light infantry in the past, they were also always led by officers on horseback, and they were also cavalry units and so on and so forth. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is symbolic of stepping over dead bodies, because again, you know, in battle, stepping over dead bodies and such. And then at the front of the step, when the leg comes up and makes this motion, that's because the pom-poms in the clogs used to hide knives. And it's to symbolize a sort of slashing or kicking motion, which the Evsones, which were originally guerrilla fighters, would do in close combat. This is, when viewed from this angle, a number 4, which is representing 400 years of Turkish rule and Turkish occupation. Although one should worry more about technique at all times, of course, there's always who has the highest feet, who can, during reverse steps, who can lift their heads up the highest, who can, when they're marching, get their foot up to their head or over their head or whatever else. So yeah, there is a competitive element to that too.
And what about the moustache?
The moustache. As recently as 10 years ago, nobody in the Presidential Guard had moustaches. And I think they started to come into fashion with the whole, I suppose, hipster fashion trends. But specifically in the Presidential Guard, it took on another dimension. First of all, you can't have a moustache unless you've had at least 100 hours of service, which would be standing still and so on. And so it's a kind of like a, you know, a badge of honor of sorts. You've done enough, you know, you've felt enough pain. But further to that, people really want it more because all the old generals during the Greek War of Independence and the Balkan Wars, they all had big mustaches, be it Kolokotronis, Karaiskakis, Pavlos Melas, they all had big mustaches. And so and all the Greek soldiers during that time had mustaches. And so it's also, you know, harking back to them and those days and making a reference to that as well. In the first so many hours, you'll be thinking about what to do during your half-time steps. You want to make your service perfect, and you're thinking, what can we improve, what can we do different this time? As the hours go by and it all becomes autopilot and you know what you're doing, your mind wanders a bit more. And then as you rack up more and more and more hours, then your feet start to hurt more and more each time. And then you're just thinking, well, boy, when can I start my half-time steps? Where can I change? And your mind gets brought back to just the pain, you know, as much as you want your mind to wander. But of course, all that is mixed with moments of just pride. Being able, I remember very clearly the feeling in my first ever service of standing up there and looking straight ahead and looking down Ermush Street, and just thinking, I'm that guy now, that guy that I've admired for many years, and now I'm up there. And that feeling wasn't just for the first service and the last service. There were many, many, many moments in between, on very certain days or certain moments when you would just sit there and all you would think about is, I'm really proud right now. This is a really wonderful thing that I'm doing right now, as much as it may hurt.
Having completed a handsome 246 hours of guards duty during his conscription, Evan is now working out what to do next. At least one option is joining the British Army.